Thanks for checking out this film review from the Dead Man's Party podcast. You could find our full archive of every unedited show if you subscribe to The Skeleton Crew on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Be sure to support Dead Man's Party on Patreon. Link in the description. Enjoy the review. All right, we are here. It is November. Thanksgiving is around the corner, and it's time to go on our favorite Goonie adventures on Dead Man's Party. My name is Al, and I'm here with the guy who is hanging. I think he killed himself. Wait, hold on. Let me see this. You schmuck. Do you really think I'd be stupid enough to hang myself? Oh, hey, Chris. What's going on? You're alive?
Come on, let's kill each other over the pepperoni!
Okay, so I'm with the guy who could smell ice cream, the Ghoul himself. What's up?
What's up? Goonies never say die.
No, they don't.
Didn't Ghoulies and Goonies come out in the same year?
They could have.
Didn't they both come out in 85?
Sounds about right, yeah. The Goonies, wow, man. This has been a movie in my life since I was probably 10 or 12 or whatever. 1985, director Richard Donner, writers Chris Columbus, not the guy who discovered America, the guy who did Home Alone. Steven Spielberg, you heard of him. He did like Jaws, I think? Something to do with Jaws, right? Or no? No, maybe not. And then...
I think he was the writer.
Oh, there you go. Starring Sean Astin as Mikey, Josh Brolin as Bran, Jeff Cohen as Chunk, Corey Feldman as Mouth, Kerry Green as Andy, Martha Plimpton as Steph, Kei Hong Huang as Data, John Matsoukas as Sloth, Robert Davi as Jake, Joey Pants as Francis, Ann Ramsey as Mama Fratelli, Lupe Entrevenurus as Rosalita, and I guess we'll name Mrs. Walsh is Mary Ellen Trainor, and I'm not going to do Mr. Walsh, I'm not going to do Troy, who cares about them, Mr. Perkins, and I don't care. Okay.
It's really funny. I always thought Mr. Walsh was played by Stephen King for the longest time.
Yeah, he does look like
him. He does kind of resemble him. You know the guy that plays Data won a fucking Oscar award last year, right?
Crazy.
Best supporting actor.
Jesus.
Fucking Academy Award.
What, he finally got it for Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom? They delayed it.
God, talk about back to back for that kid, 84 and 85. Holy shit.
He thought he was going somewhere.
Yep.
And then he hit that brick wall. Yeah, this movie basically is about 7 kids who go on a hunt for a pirate treasure because 2 guys are, I guess, buying up all the houses in their development called the Goondocks, and they are demolishing their homes once they purchase them, and I guess they're making a golf course or some country club. I don't know, expanding the country club that they already have. I'm not even. So that's it. That's an interesting plot line, right? Like randomly, just like they didn't plan this for years, like Chester Copperpot. Like they just on a whim said, "Hey, for some reason, there's a real, authentic pirate treasure map in my attic that I, for some reason, never went up and cared about before."
The whole, like, the impetus behind this movie is basically like one giant Alex effect. They were bored, so they went up to the attic to screw around, and then they found this thing, and they ended up going on one last adventure. Just because they were like, yeah, it's kind of fucked up.
And meanwhile, there's pirate stuff all over their house, like that on top of their TV, that bottle with the pirate ship in it, and like there's like things in Mikey's room, and there's just stuff everywhere in the attic and everything else, like. And paintings behind them, even in the house, of pirates fighting and things. But somehow they never cared before, which is really weird. But whatever. It is what it is. It works out. So this was shot in Astoria, Oregon. What do you think of the landscape? Isn't it like so 80s and classic, like the hilly streets? It's like suburbia.
Oh, yeah, it's gorgeous. I would have loved to. So I didn't realize Astoria was an actual real place. So they called it that, and that's what it's called in real life, huh?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
So they're all 13 years old, last hurrah before high school. So I guess we could talk about Richard Donner for a few, right? I mean,
Yeah, that's the first thing I have is director.
Yeah, so what do you got on him?
So he, quite the success run in the 70s and 80s. He directed The Omen, the original Omen, which I never knew that until probably the last time I watched The Omen. He did Superman, he did half of Superman 2, and then got fired and replaced by another director. He did, I don't know if you guys are fans of this movie, The Toy with Richard Pryor and Jackie Gleason. That was a childhood favorite of mine. I fucking love that movie. Goonies, the whole Lethal Weapon franchise, Scrooged, which is my favorite Christmas movie, Maverick with Mel Gibson, and Assassins with Sylvester Stallone and Antonio Banderas, which I'm not actually a fan of, but it was kind of a big deal back then.
Wow. Yeah.
The whole story of this movie, it's basically an Indiana Jones movie aimed at children.
Yeah.
I mean, with the set pieces and the music and everything, it really does. It really sunk in last night or the night before and last night when I was watching it. It really does feel like an Indiana Jones offshoot, which is ironic that Data is also in Temple.
Yeah.
Short Round. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's no blonde complaining about everything.
Oh, God.
Oh, well, kind of there is. What's her name? Stephanie.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
yeah.
Stephanie,
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
the most worthless character in this movie.
Yeah, well, she's supposed to be the character who's like, obviously you got the hot cheerleader there, and then she's like anti-establishment girl who's like, listens to punk, I'm sure, is smarter than everybody else because she has glasses on. She has the short hair and everything.
But really, though, at the end of this movie, her character has contributed nothing to the story. It's like they just felt like they needed a second female to be in that group, so Andy wasn't the only girl.
Yeah.
Right. And she did tell Mouth to shut up.
I think everyone does at some point.
I think they all said it at the same time one time.
They did, actually, yeah.
So, yeah, Mouth with the Purple Rain shirt on. Now, listen, I'm not like a disco guy or whatever Prince's music is categorized as, but I will say that album is perfection from beginning to end, so I can see him wearing that.
Well, yeah, Mouth's whole getup is awesome. He's got that, and he's got the fucking members-only jacket. Like
yeah, I was going to say that. Members only, yeah.
And he has Vern's brush from Stand By Me.
Oh, the comb?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow, weird how it all ties together. So what do you guys think of Mikey as like the every kid's kid? Like he has a very neutral personality because he's supposed to be all of us in the audience.
Yeah, he's okay. I find him annoying at times, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I'm not like terrible, but he's out of all of the male characters, he's probably my least favorite one.
Who is your favorite? I used to get irritated by him, but I will admit, Chunk is the most entertaining character in this thing, and I know that's what they're going for, but he really is. Like, even like things where he's just indirectly involved, like even when Mouth says, "Why don't we just pour chocolate all over the floor and let Chunk eat his way through?" and then like when he goes, "I got some naked pictures of your mom, real cheap." And he just breaks the door down.
Chunk is by far my favorite character. Almost everything he says and does in this movie makes me smile or laugh.
Right.
He is very entertaining. His expressions on his face, his physical humor, the way he just drops lines like "oh shit"
or "oh shit, what?" When she's like, "What is that?"
And he goes to that cooler to get a soda. "Oh, soda pop." Then he's like, "Damn it!" Slams it down. He's great, man.
Yeah. I'm I don't know. I think honestly, I probably because I actually didn't really like this movie when I was a kid. It wasn't until like my mid-20s when I really actually got like the whole like, oh, like all right. And then obviously now like I've now watched it now 5 times.
Yeah. So if you don't like it, why did you watch it so many times this fall alone?
Well, no. So I think I like it. I've liked it now since I'm probably when I was like 25 is when I started liking it. So the last 5 years. But when I was a kid, I just like couldn't. I didn't really get it. I like understood. Like you couldn't get into it, So just rewatching it as adulthood, I kind of understood it more. I guess if that makes sense. But yeah, as far as like favorite characters go, I would say Chunk is definitely the most entertaining. But Corey Feldman or Mouth has probably one of my favorite sequences when he's translating for Rosalia.
Oh yeah.
The shit that he's saying and like it's so fucking funny. Like just. Just like when he's talking about whatever drogas, and then he just saunters away like a little
Las drogas de estas naveras.
he tells her which drugs go in which drawers.
The coke, the heroin, and the marijuana.
The attic is filled with Mr. Walsh's sexual torture devices. And this is a kid's movie, basically. It's crazy that they included that. I mean, I know it was 1985, but still.
Yeah, and I love how after he tells her that, every time she like has any interaction with anyone else in this house, it could be misconstrued as a sexual thing. Like, she looks at the kids playing with the statue and looking at Michelangelo's cock upside down, and she like looks at it and side-eyes the kids. And then later on, she comes home with the groceries, and Brand is strapped to a sofa, like Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. And then she's like looking at him and drops everything. It's like, oh, hi, Dios mío. It's that was a funny setup.
So good.
How about why does Mouth know Spanish? Does that come off strange? Like, did Corey Feldman learn that just for this movie, or do you think he knew this already?
No, he was fed the lines for this movie. But yeah, they're supposed to be, is it 12 or 13? They're supposed to be.
I thought 13, maybe 12.
See, where I went to school, you couldn't even start taking Spanish classes until you were 12, and that was like the very beginning. But he's like semi-fluent in he's just ripping it off, man.
Yeah, when he first says, "I know perfect Spanish, Mrs. Walsh," I thought he was just being a wise ass, and suddenly he's like reciting like the map of Willie later on, and it's written in cursive. I'm like, what the hell?
Right, yeah.
So how do you guys feel that all the adults are kind of the way the adults are painted in this movie? You ever notice that, like, all of them are kind of people you would never want to be? Like, the way they frame all that, like, the kids are the greatest thing, and the adults are, like, losers. Like, the mom is just annoying, or the dad's a loser, or the Fratellis are just scumbags, and, you know, you hate them, or the cops who just wouldn't believe anything Chunk was saying, or, like, the asshole.
Troy's dad, the rich assholes.
Rich assholes, the foreclosure guys, like... They really, and like the fact that they even made it so that Chester Copperpot couldn't even get One-Eyed Willie's treasure, but the kids could. Like, adults are just made to look like total douche lords in this movie.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because even though you said like the thing about the mom kind of annoying, I do laugh at some of the things she says. Like when she's talking about, she's like, "I would really like the house to be clean when they tear it down." I think that's really funny.
What sense does that make?
So dumb.
That's just like telling it from a kid's perspective, because when you're a kid, you think all adults pretty much suck for the most part.
Right. So at the very beginning, I made the joke with Chris's intro here. Why would the Fratelli dude give the cop a heads up? I always wondered, like, why did you tell him I'm not really dead, and then look at him, do that smile, and then just raise your arms and hit him and knock him out? Like, why wouldn't you want to catch him by surprise? Is that not the point of what you're doing? Like, you could have done that just by standing there, and he could just walk over to you.
The Fratellis are just supposed to be just these inept idiots, like, the entire time. Like, and I think he's just so like, oh, I got it over on him. Why don't I do this silly little note thing? Like, and that whatever. Like, it's just like his character. They're just fucking idiots.
Well, Mama Fratelli is supposed to come off to be the alpha on Earth because she accidentally joins a race on the beach and fucking destroys every other truck that like spent weeks preparing for this.
Yeah, that always throws me off. That's like that intro though. Holy shit, with the music and everything.
Yeah, and you get a glimpse of every character. Like every character's in the vicinity of this car chase in the beginning.
Yeah, they introduce you one by one to the characters, and I love the part where Chunk's in the arcade. First of all, Chunk is standing in front of a video game. He's got a slice of pizza in one hand and a milkshake in the other hand. How is he supposed to play the game? But he's just like looking at it, and then he runs over to the window, and the look on his face is just pure glee. He's loving it because that cop goes speeding by, just like that cop goes speeding down the street in Halloween 2 and annihilates Ben Tramer.
Yeah, just like that, man. Totally. I wish he hit a kid.
Yeah, I wish she would have hit Stephanie.
I knew he was going to say that.
Who do you like least? Stephanie? Who's the one you hated? We just did a movie.
I'll probably be the different here. She doesn't bother me. None of these people bother. None of the Goonies bother me.
Yeah, she doesn't bother me. I don't love her. I wouldn't like deliberately hang out with her, but
I agree with Chris though. Like she's just kind of useless. She's like a non-character.
In reality, she isn't a Goonie. She doesn't want to be there. She just kind of. Let's talk about that. Why are those?
Hang on. Were you thinking of Lori Petty?
Yes. That's what. Yeah. Who do you like least, Lori Petty or this girl?
Least Lori Petty.
Jesus. You'd rather have this loser hanging around you?
I mean, I'd rather fuck Lori Petty, but as far as the character goes, I think she's more annoying.
Oh my god. Like, even these two girls, let's just talk about this. So, they're really out of nowhere. There's a cut scene it's kind of like the Halloween Part 1 situation where when they put it for TV, they cut out certain things, so they had to make it longer, so they shot additional scenes. So for the Goonies, there's one where they go to a convenience store, like a Five and Dime, like the kind that Gordy went to when he was buying food for everybody in Stand By Me. And you see Troy, and he's kind of picking on them, and he lights their map on fire and pretends to smoke it like a big blunt. And so that's where the two girls are introduced. And then he goes to punch out Mikey, and then you see Bran stop him, and he says, "Nobody hits my brother but me." So then later on, that's why Troy gets revenge on Bran and grabs his arm and drives him off that cliff. So that's why he kind of comes out of nowhere, and you just kind of go along with it. You're like, oh, okay, so I guess these are characters. I guess he's a rich douche type of kid, and I guess these girls are whatever. So, but that wasn't really your introduction. So
that makes a lot more sense now. That makes because I had this in my notes too. I was like, Troy just outright attempting to murder Bran, like fucking psychopath.
Right, randomly for no reason.
And
I wish they would have left that deleted scene in there because it sets up the whole relationship with Troy and Brandon and Andy, and then it shows why the map is burned on the end.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just thought it was a good scene.
No, I had no idea I'd never seen. Like I said, the only deleted scene I'd ever seen was that ridiculous octopus scene.
Oh God.
Well, he also compares that map to a real map in like one of those Hagstrom books.
Yeah, exactly. That was cool too.
Yeah, so you know where to really go.
That's how they knew where to go, because I always thought, how did they know exactly where to go stand on the cliffside to match that thing up perfectly?
Yeah, the bloom.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is even stranger, so the kids all just get the map and go riding their bikes. So that scene never takes place. Bran somehow knows to go to the Fratelli's hideout. They could have been anywhere in Astoria, anywhere whatsoever. How would he know to go there? And what's even 100 times more bizarre, how do those two girls end up in the Fratelli's hideout? Why on earth are those two girls there?
I think she says, because I was thinking the same thing, because I was like, how do they all just end up here? Like, but Bran kind of makes no sense because he just got flung off a fucking cliff. So, like, I feel like he'd probably be hurting for a while.
I was going to say, don't you think he'd have some type of injuries if he went flying off of a cliff or a hillside like that? I mean, it wasn't like a 4-foot drop because you could see him sailing through the air.
Yeah. And then the girls, I think, say, we saw your bikes and we followed, like, whatever. But that's still like fucking... I think. Don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure because I caught it when I was watching it last night.
But why would those girls even go there?
I know, right? Yeah, it's weird.
It's almost as bizarre as at the end of the movie. Like, why are the foreclosure guys on the beach next to the pirate ship?
Why are any of the adults there? The parents, there's a news crew. Everyone's right in that spot waiting for them. That really hit me last night. How?
Why?
All right, so no. So when the two cops initially on the RV see them, they radio it in, and then it's a cut. So it's probably like he radios, because you would assume that these kids have been going missing like overnight. So they're probably all, because the van they show up in is an Astoria police van,
right?
So they're probably all like together waiting to hear news of the kids.
So there's a cut, there's an edit.
Yeah. It's like a jump.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He goes, but there they are now, a whole group of them, like whatever he says.
The damn goobers.
Yeah, so I guess we're supposed to believe that in that moment he phoned it in and everyone said, "Oh, they're all over here, guys, come on." And even the foreclosure guys fell.
Well, that shit makes fucking no sense. Also, like, how much of a dick do you have to be when, like, these parents' children have been missing, and you're just so concerned about taking their fucking homes away, you evil fuck.
And one of those cops on the 4-wheelers was Richard Donner, the one that said them damn goobers.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because it was kind of an awkward, unnatural type of delivery. So it would make sense that he's not a real actor. Yeah, so, the Fratellis, their hideout, they have like a dead body in the fucking freezer with ice cream. That whole scene where they let the kids in and they drink yellow water and stuff. And then we get introduced to Sloth, who's chained down in a basement, and he eats like, I don't know, like...
He's throwing like potatoes at him, and how disturbing would that be for Mikey to go downstairs and see this fucking Italian guy singing and throwing this slop food at this chained up, cone-headed retard?
Sloth Longtongue.
Oh God.
Yeah, and that guy and Sloth's wearing a LA Raiders shirt, and the guy who played him is an actual LA Raiders football player.
Yep.
So,
that's cool.
And also, how weird that LA Raiders, their symbol guy is a pirate.
Oh, cool! I never realized that. Well, I never made that connection.
And Sloth ends up wearing a Superman T-shirt, which Richard Donner directed.
Right. Why were the cops shooting at the Fratellis in that high-speed chase? Do you normally shoot people in a high-speed chase just because they escaped?
Exactly. It's not like they had just gone on like a murder spree or something like that. The guy broke out of jail.
Right.
Speaking of the Fratellis and shooting things, can we just... One of the things I didn't really like take note of until now was they have no qualms aiming their guns at children, and like even with the swords at the end too, like they are just pieces of shit. They would kill children if they could. It's fucking insane.
It's weird, but you do like all of them anyway, right? Like they're kind of not redeemable really in any way, but I guess you could see the lighthearted, goofy side of them too, like just them falling on that log when Data made it slick shoes, and like when the guy threw an empty milk container at the back of his head.
Oh, is that what it was? I thought it was a bucket. He goes, "Ma, he's eating my pepperoni again." The guy, Jake, whips around and throws a slice of pizza at the brother, and they pull guns on each other. Come on, let's kill each other over the pepperoni.
Unreal.
And then the mom slaps the one. So what about Mama Fratelli? Is she not amazing or what? Talk about an iconic 80s character, man.
Oh, yeah.
So she's obviously best known from this and Throw Mama from the Train with Billy Crystal, which I've actually never seen that movie before.
Yeah, me neither.
She's in a horror movie called Deadly Friend that Wes Craven directed with Christy Swanson. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah.
I would if I know. Is it good?
It's entertaining.
Okay.
She's a part of a very iconic scene.
She's got one of the best kill scenes. Ridiculous.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
The basketball.
Yep.
Oh my God!
I didn't know where that was from though. So sadly, she didn't really enjoy her fame from this movie. She was dead like 3 years after it came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fuck! I knew she was dead. I didn't know it was that shortly after.
Yeah, she never got to know.
Oh, that's sad. Because, like, you can't stand that character, which means obviously she did a fucking fantastic job playing it.
Oh, I love that character. Yeah, like, I never couldn't stand. That's what I'm saying. Like whoever said it, Chris maybe is right. Or you did. Like, they're all scum. But at the same time, let me see. She died. Oh, she had cancer. She beat esophageal cancer in 84, and it returned in 88, and she died on August 11th. Okay, so... Who is your other favorite characters? Like, is Data just a blah character to you? And like,
no. I was gonna say I think Data's my second favorite because I think his lines are really funny.
Pictures of pow, booby trap. That's what I said. Booby trap.
Okay, so when I watched the movie this time with the subtitles on, which I just do sometimes. I think the subtitles are just really shoddily done. Whoever did those, because the first time he uses the teeth in the movie. The subtitles call them pinchers of peril, Peril. The second time he uses them, it says pinchers of power.
Wow.
Yeah, which was really weird. I always thought it was power, but that first time it said peril, and I was like, what?
Wow. Weird.
Yeah.
How weird is it that he, like, has all these gadgets and contraptions, but none of them make any sense? Like, these slick shoes he has... Where would the oil be harbored the entire time that he's not shooting it out of his shoes?
I guess it's just like a hollowed out compartment underneath there.
People complain that Air Nikes aren't good enough, but he could walk around in shoes filled with oil that he squirts.
And he's got a full-size boxing glove under his coat the whole time that nobody would have ever noticed. Yet he pulls his coat back and it's a giant boxing glove comes out.
And he has this gigantic car battery strapped to his waist that lights up these 2 gigantic flashlights for a whole 7 seconds. Like, what are these? Like, sorry guys, battery don't last too long. Too long. If it didn't last too long, they would die in about 3 hours. Yours died in 7 seconds, dude.
Yeah.
That's like not even. I don't know why you would walk around like that all day.
I know the boxing glove shit always got me good. I'm like, it's really funny when he does it, but it's like, where was that thing the whole time?
I don't know.
Yeah, the whole booby traps, booty traps, that back and forth always makes me laugh because Data gets so mad. He's like, "That's what I said, booby traps. Be quiet." Shh. He's so pissed.
Does it ever bother you guys, like your whole life? Well, not you, Ghoul, since you were 25, I guess, watching this when they take the caps off of Brand's bike tires and they just deflate?
Oh, that always made me mad.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
And we all know that. Like, even when I was like 11, I was like, well, what the hell is this?
Because when Brandon goes out to his bike, he goes, "My tires, they popped my new tires." They didn't pop anything. They unscrewed the fucking caps off it. That's it.
Yeah. If it really worked that way in real life, you would say, "They unscrewed my tires." Right? That's all you would say. But it doesn't work like that. That's why you thought they popped them.
Because don't you, in order to lift the arrow, don't you have to press the little needle?
Yes.
Yeah, you have to engage the middle needle thing.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I rode a bike.
Speaking of Data, let's talk about this moment where he falls down a hole and he throws these phony-ass pitches of peril and he grabs a piece of rock with chatter teeth and a spring and it stops a 110-pound kid from dropping 75 feet straight down into a hole onto these gigantic spikes. Now, we can't even stop there, though, because not only does that preposterous moment happen, and even as a kid, again, I'm not saying this as a reviewer, like, oh, God, look, now he's going to tear it apart because he's reviewing it. No, I have said this from the beginning. That would never happen. And two, did you notice in the next cut, all the kids are down there right where those spikes are? So you had to fall down this thing in order to keep going through Willie's maze?
Yeah, how did they get down there?
Willie Mays Hayes?
That just popped into my head.
Yeah, there was no rope that they all said, okay, well, let's all rope down now, or not like that. Like, it's all just weird. That whole moment, like, why do you have to go down, a fall down 75 feet onto spikes to keep going through your thing? There's no other way to get there?
That's what I was going to say. You have to go through one of the traps to continue.
Right.
Through the maze or whatever you want to call it.
And how about this? What about that moment when Mikey, was it the piano or whatever? Like, I forgot where it was, but he puts not the piano. He puts the skeleton key into those three things that are sticking out of the wall. Then he turns it with his hand. And then this piece of wood comes and closes around his wrist to trap his hand inside. And all of a sudden then like when the Rube Goldberg trap starts up and the ball's rolling down, you think that since it trapped his hand, something is now going to get him since he can't get out of where he is. But as it all keeps happening and that thing starts cutting and all that stuff, the next time you see him, he's just standing around like everybody else, like his hand was never trapped there anymore.
I don't think I ever noticed that.
Wow, really?
Yeah, well, because that Rube Goldberg thing you mentioned is that trap. I think is funny because it calls back to his little trap, how he has to open the gate at his house. It's a similar thing. And you notice that, like, when that thing is going, it says Rube G on the holder of like wherever the bowling ball is rolling through at his house.
No, I never noticed that.
Yeah. They love Rube Goldberg traps, and it's weird that they do that and Willie does that, and then they say you were the first Goonie.
Why would you go to the lengths to set up that fucking thing at their house to open that gate? Because you're so fucking lazy, you don't want to go open the fucking gate. So you set up the most elaborate, like, opener.
And they have But also involves a chicken needing to pop an egg out, so that can't happen every single time,
Just once a day, people can come to the house.
Jesus.
And then, honestly, Chunk could have just lifted the latch right in front of him. All it did was lift a little latch.
Yeah, it's not like it was padlocked.
But we did get to see the truffle shuffles. What do you guys think of that?
It's still so funny.
That hits close to home because I was shaped like that at his age, kind of.
Wow. Did you ever do the truffle shuffle?
In the privacy of my own home, yes.
Nice, man. You do all the sounds?
I got to see Alex doing a truffle shuffle a couple weeks ago.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Well, now we have a whole new thing with that. Okay, forget the gyrating stuff. It's the truffle shuffle, baby. Okay, so when Mikey is like bragging to One Eye Will's like, I beat you, Willie. I beat you. And all this Goonie stuff, and I think, he says some nice things. You were the first Goonie, and blah, blah. So he turns around, and all the other kids are staring at him. And he's like, oh, how long you guys been here? And he goes, long enough, Mikey, long enough. So you're telling me that all those kids were lifted through that thing that Mikey punched up in the ceiling, and they all were hoisted up there and got there and just stood there perfectly quiet, one at a time, helping the other one up, not making a peep, so Mikey could have this moment, and then they just stood there staring at him till he turned around?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many funny movie moments like this, right?
I got a moment.
Yeah, that didn't occur to me until last night, too, which is funny. Because, like, the whole time they're all arguing and bickering with each other over everything. You would think that trying to get up there, they'd be, like, yelling at each other.
Yeah, that's all they do.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's the gold, Mikey? Where's the gold?
So, one of my what the F moments is when they're amazing scene when they get to the wishing well part, when they're underground. Like, that, first of all, that's one of my favorite scenes because the way they just stumble into that and the way the water's falling, like, it looks epic, man.
Beautiful.
Like, just imagine the wonder and amazement you'd feel if you were on an adventure like that and you came across something like that. It's just awesome.
Right.
So anyway, so Troy and his buddies are up there. They have their whole back and forth. And then they think they're pulling Andy up. So the guy's pulling the bucket. And at no point do they look down and see that she's not on there. And at no point did that guy think, oh, this only feels like I'm pulling up 3 pounds instead of 115 pounds or whatever. They don't know it's not her until it comes up with the sweater draped around the bucket. I mean, come on.
And like how his friends back away like, oh, God, he's going to erupt, guys. Let's back away.
I mean, would they not be looking down? Because they were looking down the goddamn well as they were talking to him. But then the whole time he's pulling the rope, they don't look down one time.
Dude, I always wondered, how could he not know he's pulling up a sweater? Like, at least have the bucket full of water or something, right? To add some weight to this. But even that wouldn't be enough. But, like, yeah. How do you not know? He's like,
Right.
Andy, you Goonies!
So stupid.
So weird, man.
Because in real life, he'd say, you fucking bitch! He wouldn't say, you goonie.
Yeah, you Goonie, whatever he said. And then how about, as I got older, I think it was more of a metaphor, but as a kid, when Corey Feldman used to be like, oh yeah? Well, right here, this is my wish, and it didn't come true. So I'm taking it back. I'm taking them all back. I always thought as a kid, I was like, wow, how does he know that that's the penny he threw in there? Did you ever think that, Chris, when you were younger, like when you were 12 watching this?
100%. Well, maybe not that young, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because then he submerges himself in water, and I guess he's going to identify every single coin he ever threw.
He's like, I threw this one, and I threw that one. And like, who is he? Teddy DeChamp? What wish didn't come true? What tragic story do you have, Mouth? What, that your other ear wasn't burned off? Like, why does he have a tragic story now? This is mine and it didn't come true. Like, okay. Like, get out the violin, dude.
So during the opening credits, our girl Stephanie is submerged in a big giant bucket of water, her head. I've always wondered, what is she doing? Because when she comes up out of the water, her eyes are closed and she just throws her head back and she's got a plastic crab in one hand and throws it. I had a crab just like that when I was a kid that I got in Florida. I mean, it's supposed to be a real crab, obviously, but she just like nonchalantly throws it over her shoulder. So I guess we're supposed to think she didn't even realize she had a crab because she just kind of tosses her hand back. But still, what was she doing to begin with?
Were there apples in there besides the crabs? Or is she just making out with the crabs?
It's just a bizarre intro for that character. I don't get it.
What was on the script? Cars chase behind you while you dunk your head in a giant wooden barrel of water, and you bring a crab up with you and throw it behind your back.
And they thought that was like hysterical or something?
Yeah.
I mean,
That'll get the kids going.
This will really give them a good idea of who your character is. Because, that's the things you're doing while your friend's cheerleading.
Yeah, and also, we say like how she's supposed to be like kind of like the quote sensible one. They'll be like, why are we here? Like, we shouldn't be doing this thing. It's like, meanwhile, lady, like 8 hours earlier, you're dunking your head on the docks in the fucking crab barrel. Like, what? You should be right here with these kids.
Right. We're the weirdos, though.
If anyone shouldn't be there, it should be the cheerleader.
Right. She should be saying this. This other girl fits right in with this nonsense.
Ghoul, isn't crab and lobster like a big deal where you live?
Yeah, mostly because of where around Cape Cod, where the person who did the truffle shuffle lives.
Who wrote this? Spielberg, right? Or was?
I don't think Christopher Columbus wrote it. Yes.
Okay. Does he think kids don't know the word treasure?
Nope, it's rich stuff.
How many times is somebody gonna go, oh, they probably have the rich stuff. Yeah, it's the rich stuff. Where's the rich stuff, Mikey? Like, the rich stuff. What is that? Like, it never bothered me or stuck out to me until I went to review it. That's one I'll say is I start having a problem with now.
Yeah, I think the first time they say it is when they're in the house and they're talking about going up in the attic and Mouth is getting them all worked up. He's like, maybe there's some stuff there where we can keep from the outsiders. Maybe there's some rich stuff. And I never noticed until this watch, Chunk is in the background saying his own shit, and he says, lots of food, Big Macs, McDonald's.
What?
Yes, as far as like what he's hoping is going to be in the attic.
I never heard that in my life.
I didn't either until this time, and it's only because I had the subtitles on, and then I focused on it.
Why would McDonald's be in an attic?
That's what I thought. So if Chunk thinks there's this huge stash of McDonald's upstairs, it's going to be like good and edible to be eaten after it's been hiding out in some attic.
Actually, if you've seen some new Instagram posts, you might think it would still be edible. Apparently, you could leave McDonald's out for like 3-4 weeks and none of it will rot.
Oh,
yeah. It's loaded with that many... You could pour hot lava on a McDonald's hamburger and the lava just glides right over it. And the bun.
Jesus Christ.
I'm not kidding you. Look it up. It'll just glide right over it. Like yeah.
As far as rich stuff goes, I actually really like that term because it's like it almost made like at least to me it's like their little group there. They have like their own lingo. And that's the way I always saw it. But I also I just love like using random terms like our non-logic or non like usual terms for things. So rich stuff always fucking kills me. I love it.
Right. How about up there, it's their time up there. Down here, it's our time. It's our time. Here. That was always the best, man. Oh, my God.
He's so prophetic for a kid.
And then all goes away once we go up Troy's bucket. And why does he have to be asthmatic? What does that help this any?
Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't like come into play.
Yeah, he don't like start almost dying from running or anything.
Right.
Yeah, and then at the end he just throws it away.
Inhaler or something. Yeah, right. He goes, who needs it? So it's like, well, what's the point?
When at the end of the movie, when like all the cops are confronting him on the beach and everything, and Data's like, "Oh, it was really scary. The octopus." He's like, "Octopus?" Like as a kid, I was always like, Oh, that's weird. Why is he like lying to them? Like there were so many things that really did happen. Like
You took the words right out of my mouth. The whole time I grew up watching this movie, I thought, oh, so Data's just making up bullshit stories now, like Chunk does.
right, and yeah, Michael Jackson used my bathroom.
Unbeknownst to me, that whole time there was this deleted octopus scene, which is horrible.
Oh,
and thank God it didn't make the final cut.
Yeah, it's really bad.
It made the music video though, right?
But they
I think so.
Oh, did it? I haven't seen that video since I was a kid. But they shouldn't have left that line in if they cut that octopus scene out, because it makes no sense.
You even cut to the guy going octopus. Like, why would you bother with that?
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes it look like what I said. Like, why is he lying when you actually did so much? Like, just get to some of the other things. I mean,
They could also like, oh, we found Chester Cobblepot's body. Like,
just so many other things you
would
could
have
have
solved an actual mystery.
Right.
Oh, speaking of Chester Copperpot, this never made me laugh until this view. But when they find him, Data goes, "He's dead for sure." It's like, no shit.
Yeah. Wow. Nothing gets past you.
Dude, Data's shit kills me. Like when they get to the pirate ship and he falls through the thing, and he just goes on his own little tirade to himself while the rest of them are looting.
Just bitching to nobody.
Oh my god!
You're doing
it's
this
so
while
funny.
Data's falling.
Months and months I work on that.
It's like, oh, so fucking good.
Yeah, he's great, man.
That was one of the ad libs I thought worked because it really came off as something the kid would just rave about.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was interesting. Like the Fratellis were able to kind of just go through their whole Willy Wonka traps and stuff.
Willy.
One-eyed Willy Wonka.
One-eyed Willy Wonka. We gotta do that mashup.
God, imagine him. I was gonna say, imagine a mashup of that. One-eyed Willy as Willy Wonka.
How did Willy set up all of these traps? Like, did he get all his guys? And how were they all dead sitting around that table? Like, I always wondered, did he just walk up to each and every one of them and just stab them and act like that was the last guy he had to stab, and then just walk past another one and stab him and say, okay, no, that's it, guys, I'm not doing this to anybody else. Then just walk to another guy and stab him? Like, how did he kill all these people at this table?
Logically, I'd say he probably poisoned them.
Oh, wow, you're good, man.
Yeah, but you're right about
that's some deep shit. I never thought about that.
Yeah, I'm so stupid. I thought it was so obvious. You're like, no, man, come on, use your brain. He'd spike their drinks.
But for the traps, though, I was like, he would have needed his guys to do this. Like, basically, it would have been like the setup scene for Predator. Like, they're all like especially with the boulders, like wrapping the rope around it and like
who pulled those boulders up? Like Arnold Schwarzenegger pulled his rock or his tree thing. Yeah.
And then like even the elaborate piano trap. I don't even know.
Piano, the key, the whole thing. Like, and that was supposed to take place when? The 1632. That's the year. That's it's a little elaborate, but it's cool looking though. So
you can't think too hard on this movie for sure.
No.
Even listen, I know how to play piano, and I wouldn't know how to hit A sharp on that thing. I wouldn't know what to do. And here's the other thing: like when she hits the wrong note, do you just go to the next note, or do you try that one again? How do you know that you're supposed to go to the next one? And A sharp and B flat are the exact same note. Like, does anybody know that in this movie? Like, why would you write that? I don't know if it's A sharp or B flat. Moron, it's the same note.
Then why are they called two different things?
I don't know, like, because think about it. So B is here. Well, it'll probably disappear in this thing, but B is here, and going back one is A sharp. A sharp is here, going forward one is B. So B flat and A sharp are the same thing.
Wow, we got Beethoven over here.
And if you don't get that note right, we'll all be flat.
Yeah. Corny line, but kind of funny.
I like that one a lot.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was funny. Something a kid would say.
But would you say that in the heat of the moment? You'd be like, hit the right fucking note.
Yeah, and she wasn't even supposed to be there. What would they have done if she never just ended up on their thing?
We've been dead.
Right.
They'd all just been dead at that point.
That's what I'm saying. Every character served a purpose at some point except Stephanie. She didn't do anything to save anybody or advance their adventure further.
Yeah.
She just gave Mouth a character arc, which you're kind of pretty when your face isn't screwing it up, and you're kind of nice when your mouth isn't screwing it up. Like, that's it.
Yeah. So she had no discernible skills whatsoever to contribute.
What do you guys think about that pirate ship, the Inferno?
Oh, man.
Badass.
That is money. Just imagine the shock and awe if you were in the one of those kids and you were on this thing, but still in the back of your mind when you're going through this adventure, you're like, this can't be real. And then you actually see a goddamn gigantic pirate ship in front of you, and you're like, holy shit, we did this. I mean, I can't even imagine.
Let's talk about that. So I'm glad you said that. Number one, if you don't know this, Spielberg, Donner wouldn't show the kids the ship. He had them all go on set. They put a cover or whatever, and then they had to turn around, and they wanted to film their real reactions. So that's one cool thing. But here's the other thing. You're right. I'm glad you said that. If you were one of these kids and you were on this crazy Goonie adventure, despite the fact that the rocks came down and were crushing people and you dove into this little nook, and despite the fact that Data fell and he somehow lived and you went down there and did that, and the bats and the water pipes and all the nonsense that you went through and the water slides, do you really think that any of them during any of this really thought that they would end up at this pirate ship?
No, that's what I'm saying. It would be mind blowing, because realistically, in the back of your head, you would think, we're not going to find a pirate ship.
Yeah, we'll just see what happens, but we're,
right.
Like, we're not actually going to find this, because
it's like someone that plays the lottery, but you're like, I'm not actually going to win the lottery, but then you get a winning ticket, and holy fuck.
Yeah, it's a good comparison.
Yeah, it is. Like, what do you think at that point? Like, it's pretty... And then how weird that the Fratellis are always there to take the wind out of their sails, no pun intended.
Right.
Well, it's funny thinking about it now. I'm like, wow, because they had it easy because they didn't have to go through any of the traps or anything. They just had the path laid out for them.
Just follow the breadcrumbs.
But I will say, so the piano scene, when she's hitting all the wrong notes and the ground is... How did they get over that? Because that concrete bridge that comes down is only long enough to get from where they're standing right by the piano out through the opening. But there's that huge gap where all the floor fell out. So how did they get over that?
Dude, you just broke this wide open.
Yeah, they show them. It's a weird... I think the way it's framed is kind of weird, because they do show them crossing like a little ridge to get over to where the door is.
The Fratellis?
Yeah, because what's his name? So Mama is obviously already over there, and then Joey Pants is moving, and then Robert Davi's like scared to go.
Oh, yeah.
Joey Pants is like, come on, whatever what's his name, Jack or whatever. He's like, come on, Jack, come on, like, you got this. Like, they're just being like, yeah. Sorry to take the wind out of your sails on talking about the Fratellis taking the wind out of your sails.
Yeah, sorry, Chris. He didn't do nothing. He discovered nothing. Yeah, so like, as soon as they think everything's great, there's stuff. He's like, come on, what are you all doing? You're just standing around. Start stuffing your shit up. They're like, what about the Fratellis? And they're like, well, we'll put Jules in one cave, and then we'll go to another one. And then when they're there, we'll, like, I don't know, trap them. She goes, that sounds like a great idea. And he's like, whoa. Like, that's so movie, that's so, like, Hardy Boys kind of thing, but it's still great.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's like Scooby-Doo type stuff.
Yeah.
But it's early enough in the, in movie making that it works.
Oh, yeah. God, how many millions of dollars worth of gold and jewels were on that ship? Oh, my God.
Dude.
Shit was everywhere.
And what did Willie do with any of it? Nothing. It just sat on his ship. He didn't, like, become some rich dude.
He had to go hide out because he had all that shit.
He didn't own a country or anything. Like, what was the point of this? Really a waste, in a way.
Well, it's also crazy to me, too, that it's like this legendary pirate in this thing, like, ended up in a cave in the United States. I feel like most pirate things, like, didn't happen in the United States.
Yeah, a cave in Oregon.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like I always thought that was funny. Well, it's also funny too is that when someone tries to take Willie's little scale, is that's what activates the trap to open the cave up to get out. When Mikey stops, he's like, "No, we leave it for him." But then the Fratellis out of greed take it, and it ends up loosening the ship. So they could have escaped that way without almost being caved in on.
Why would let's ask 100 questions, right? Why grab that scale of coins when the entire cabin is full of shit?
Exactly.
Like, you couldn't fill that. You couldn't possibly get it out of there. Why bother with the scale? And two, so he's trapped. How is he trapped in what seems like a solid? It ain't like boulders fell and piled up and blocked him. So what? He made it so if you move my scale somehow, it's going to trigger something to raise my anchor, and then somehow my boat will move, even though I have no air pushing it forward. And just the tip of the pole in front of my boat is going to break what's trapping me in here. Okay, so why not just do that yourself and go live your life?
Right. So weird.
So I don't get it. And listen, when we're picking this movie apart, we're not saying this is not an iconic 80s classic masterpiece of children's filmmaking. No, this is. As an adult, though, it's funny to look at these things and be like, WTF is happening here? Because it's a lot of funny things that are so nonsensical and ridiculous, but that even makes it more fun as an adult. But as a kid, no, I never thought any of this stuff except for the obvious, pulling the sweater up a well, or why is his hand locked in but nothing's happening, or the other thing I mentioned, like Data, like him with the pictures of Pow, like not falling on the spikes. 3 ridiculous things is really all I thought about all my life. But the rest, yeah, no, solid.
Yeah, 95% of what we're picking apart on this movie, I never even gave a second thought when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I never realized this girl dunking her head in a crab tank until today. So yeah, no, even that didn't occur to me. But yeah, let's talk about that milkshake and the pizza on the window, though, for like an hour. Dude, the way he mashes the milkshake, it pops perfectly and squirts up.
And the fucking smear that he leaves on the window from the pizza is like 2 feet long. It's like he took it and was like trying to clean the window with it or something.
If you go to that place today, there's a picture of him like against that window with the pizza and the milkshake.
No shit.
Yeah, it still exists today.
For real?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yep. So yeah, the Cyndi Lauper song, perfect for this movie. Really works, and I love the music video. It goes on for like, if you guys never saw it, for like 15 minutes, and they added like wrestlers from the WWF in it, and like Rowdy Piper and everybody are like going through like all these traps. It's really pretty awesome. Like, if you're an 80s wrestling fan and this movie fan, and Cyndi Lauper, she had 1 or 2 good songs in the 80s, but, she's weird, but no, you would love, look up that music video. It's great, and the kids are in it and everything. It's better than the Stand By Me music video. You guys saw that one?
Yeah, that one's weird.
No, I didn't watch that one.
You have to watch it, because who sings it? B.B. King, or who is that guy who sings it?
Ben E. King.
Ben King? Okay.
And the video's weird, though, Chris. It's just, what's his name? Just River Phoenix and Will Wheaton in, like, an audience like they're in Bandstand. And it's just, like, a weird mix of them, like, watching and reacting, but then clips from the movie. It's just odd.
Huh.
And then they start dancing with the guy who's singing it now that he's old.
Yes.
It's really weird. It's very awkward. It's like they just are so uncomfortable. You have to see it. And they're like, boy, this is not cool. Like, we're cool movie stars, and this is so corny and very awkward.
They're also, like, at least 2 years older than they were when they filmed the movie, so it looks even weirder.
So in the video, are they as their characters, or are they're themselves?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They don't seem like their characters. And River Phoenix's hair is like 5 inches longer than it was in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, really weird. But yeah, this music video is amazing. Definitely look that up, guys. Watch it once in your life. Andre the Giant's in it. It's really good.
I've watched this one. I like this one a lot.
Yeah, it's cool.
I like the part where on the pirate ship and after the Fratellis show up, and Andy, the cheerleader girl, she says to Mama Fratelli, she goes, "You gross old witch," and Francis grabs her by her hair and holds that sword to her throat. That's so hot.
Yeah, no, I love the whole thing, and then Sloth coming down the pirate ship, like he sticks his knife in and slides down it. Just like that.
Yeah, so he says, "Hey, you guys," which, watching the movie, that was the first time that line's introduced. But on the deleted scenes, when it shows Sloth and Chunk get to that fireplace, they're yelling down the fireplace. Chunk's going, "Hey, you guys!" And Sloth's like, "You guys!" So that's the origin, really, of that line.
Yeah, that movie they were watching in that weird cell with the chains and stuff was called Captain Blood. It's a pirate movie. Huge Goonie fans. Make sure they all watch that. It's like a thing to watch that too.
Something we skipped over, I just want to talk about real quick, was the scene between Chunk and Sloth when they first meet. When Chunk's tied up to that chair, baby, and Sloth,
baby, Ruth.
Chunk's reaction when Sloth turns around and looks at him for the first time, Chunk's face is completely goes white, and he starts screaming and hopping up and down in that chair. And then Sloth loves it. He's like, and his ears start wiggling and shit. That is so fucking funny to me, dude.
The one eye starts blinking. Yeah, how about, what do you guys think about them removing Chunk from the movie in that sense? Like,
I thought about that last night.
Yeah, like he's not really in this in that way. He's not a part of this adventure. He has kind of his own way of getting to the same place. Is there anything else to ponder?
The music, I just want to say, the actual score. Not even just the main theme, but the scene, especially when they're in the attic. It's kind of reminds me of almost Nightmare on Elm Street, 2-ish kind of. It's very not whimsical, but it's mysterious.
Mysterious, that's the word I was looking for.
Yeah, I love it.
It's really good.
And the music that plays at the end when that shows the pirate ships sailing out in the ocean, just that whole crescendo that it's building up to, and then that's fantastic.
It sounds almost like this. It's leading up into the Superman theme, kind of.
Probably, since it's Richard Donner, probably have the same composer, but I'd have to look it up.
So there's a bit of trivia. I'm not going to go through all of it, but...
No, he didn't do Superman.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
According to Sean Astin, he was allowed to keep the treasure map used in the film. Several years later, his mother, Patty Duke, discovered it, thought it was a crinkled piece of paper, and threw it in the garbage.
Oh, what a cunt.
I guess you're not going to watch reruns of Patty Duke then.
I did when I was a kid, though, ironically enough. When I didn't have cable TV for a few years when we moved out in the country, when I'd go to my grandparents' house, I'd watch Nickelodeon, old reruns, the whole Nick and Night thing, and I got hooked on the Monsters, Patty Duke Show, Car 54, Where Are You? Yeah, shit like that.
So, the last what the F I'm going to give this movie, something I did notice before becoming a reviewer, was when Chunk climbs out of he's like, I hate nature, and he goes out to the road and he stops the car and he goes, "Mister, there's these really disgusting people, the Fratellis. I know where they are. I can identify all of them." Then the Fratelli turns the light on in the car. He didn't see him at all, I guess, and until he turned the light on. And then he goes, "Oh, shit," or whatever he says. He realizes it's him. And the guy starts singing those Italian songs or whatever he's doing.
Yeah, he loves that shit.
Did you guys know what's insanely wrong with that scene?
No.
Oh, great. I love dropping this stuff. Okay. If you look in the side mirror of the car, because don't forget, the shot is Chunk and the side mirror, which illuminates this guy's face, right?
Right.
That's how you see it. He starts singing. Now you're looking at Chunk. Now you cut to looking at him singing. Then as it cuts back to Chunk, he's backing away, and in the rearview mirror, the guy's just standing still looking at Chunk without singing. Yeah, he's not singing anymore, but you still hear it singing.
Never noticed that.
I'll have to go back and watch that.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's wild. I was always like, wow, look at that. Weird. Yeah. And it's funny. I remember back when I was I went through some Goonie phases a while ago. I watched a bunch of reviews on the Goonies, and nobody ever mentioned it. Nobody. And even the guy who does that everything wrong with the Goonies in 8 minutes, you know that guy who does?
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah, he didn't notice it.
Oh no shit.
Yep.
Wow.
I want to bring up one quick thing about the ending when they all reunite with the families, and I have to give credit.
I hope you say what I'm going to say. Go ahead.
Well, I have to give credit to Chainsaw Christian from Exploding Heads, because they were talking about the Goonies one time, just randomly, like on their show, and imagine the conversation between Chunk and his parents. Hey, this guy's going to come live with us now, and imagine being the parents looking at Sloth, and what would their reaction be?
Well, the thing is, he doesn't even run it by them, but if you read the novelization, you actually get the conversation between Chunk and his parents. And he's like, hey, mom, dad, listen, Sloth's parents, his mom, is going to jail, so he's going to be on his own now, and can he come live with us? Because if he doesn't, they're going to put him in a home, and that's not a good place for him. We should take care of him and all this stuff. He's my friend, blah, blah, blah. And you never get the response from the parents, or if you do, I just don't recall it. But so in the novelization, he did. And a lot of times when they write novelizations, they do use these scripts. So that could have been a deleted scene that he talked to them while he was eating the pizza or whatever, when they gave him pizza with that disgusting Domino's.
Hey, don't be dissing Domino's.
Ghoul loves Domino's.
Dude, the Domino's in my town is so fucking good.
It doesn't matter. It's the same everywhere. That's the point of the chain.
It's not, though. Come out to Massachusetts sometime. I'll show you.
I will.
It was just funny though on Exploding Heads, because Christian said his parents would be like, "Oh, I don't think so. Here, Sloth, take some of these jewels and get the fuck out of here."
Oh yeah, there's two. I'm glad you brought the God. You almost made me miss some things. Okay, so the one what the F moment, did you? And I noticed this too all my life, when Bran's parent, or his dad, is looking when these two losers are, for whatever reason, on the beach, the foreclosure guys. He takes the thing instead of signing it when Rosalia, says, the jewels. Number one, Rosalia, why are you saying anything? You should open that bag, close it, and walk away.
And why is she there to begin with? She's supposed to clean the house.
But yeah, what are you doing? You have time to do this? To hang on the beach with these guys? So number 2, or 3, 5, whatever. So his dad's signing the thing, then he sees the jewels. He rips up the contract and throws it in the air. Did you guys ever notice the other burst of paper?
The more pieces that come
from behind him?
It's like someone was standing off to the side, and a split second after he throws his, they go flying up in the air.
They didn't even do it right.
It wasn't even synchronized. Nope.
And then they go, fuck. All right, guys, one more time. Come on.
Let's try this again.
Nope. They were like, Michael J., it's okay. Let's go to the next scene.
That really jumped out at me last night when I saw the end. I was like, whoa, someone's off camera, and they were a little late there.
Oh, yeah, a little late.
Yeah. But I guess what the F from that would be, is that little just marble sack full of dime or jewels, whatever they are, enough to save the whole neighborhood? Like,
no, just his house. Yeah. So what's he gonna do? Have one house in the middle of a golf course? Like, what's the point of saving your house?
Yeah.
Right. Like, the Goondogs are gone, dude. Yeah. Right. He would have to buy back every single house.
Right.
It just doesn't make... dude, this is a movie you cannot look that deeply into.
Exactly, yeah.
You really
weren't they like stuffing their pockets with shit too, though?
Fratelli's made them empty it all.
Yeah, okay.
Why would she even care? Like, she couldn't possibly take back half of what's on that ship. She couldn't honestly take back 1/10 of what was on the ship.
5%. Yeah, exactly.
So what's the difference? I'd be like, all right, that's all you're getting. Get out of here. I don't care what you got. I'm taking the rest. Beat it. Like, why would you care to make sure these kids have nothing to the point where you're pulling pearls out of Mouth's mouth?
I was going to say, that is a funny visual, though, when she's pulling that pearl necklace out of Mouth's mouth.
You're the one they call Mouth, aren't you? So why are you suddenly so quiet? Like, things like that make me like her. And, like...
you see that deleted scene where after that, Mouth gave her a pearl necklace for real?
Oh, dude, don't gross me out.
Why did I know that Chris was gonna make a comment like that watching this last night? Seeing that, I was like, Chris is gonna have something about that.
Yeah. I only jumped it once. No, maybe twice. Okay, fine, 5 times. But listen.
But that shows you how much of a simpleton Sloth was, because as soon as she starts talking about that and singing, it's like he forgot about everything else. He's all happy and just like, you know, and then when she says, hey,
yeah. Break fire.
Amazing.
Oh, man. I love the little tuft of hair at the top of his head. Oh, my God.
Dude, oh my God. Is it the left or right ear that always twitches?
I think it's his. I thought it was both. Is it not both?
It might be both. I don't know. I always feel like I pay more attention to one or the other.
It cracks me up at the end when he goes, Sloth, you're going to live with me now. And Sloth's just like,
I'm going to take care of you.
Because I love you. Oh, I love you, Chunk.
Like at their special moment when Chunk was holding the boulder and he's between his legs.
Yeah.
And Chunk grabs his head and stuffs into his crotch.
Sloth love Chunk.
How did you guys get so close? You hung out for 3 hours. Like, what is wrong with you?
Well, I mean, Sloth did kiss him on the mouth when they were in that fucking dungeon room. He picks him up and kisses him right on the fucking mouth.
Oh, you smell like
happened.
Fizzhead.
2 teeth. You know, when I was a kid, I never knew what he was saying. At that Fizzhead part, I was like, he smells like what?
Fish heads or something?
I saw this at the theater when I was 9, and for several years, I could not make out Fizz Ed. I thought he was trying to say fish something, but I was like, I guess I just don't understand what he says.
You smell like fish heads.
Jesus Christ. Oh, wait, I got something else I always wanted to notice. It goes all the way back to the beginning. I should have brought it up then.
Too late. All right, so how many...
No.
This has to be said.
Talk about the, like, Chris's background, the title, the opening,
Right.
like, visual.
Oh, yeah, the eye is dotted with a skull, I know. Crazy, dude.
Well, yeah, but also just, like, it has a skull and it zooms into it. Very similar to the opening credits of Halloween 2 when the skull, or the pumpkin breaks apart and turns into the skull.
We already did that, Ghoul. We don't do 2 a show.
We've done.
We can do whatever we want.
No, I'm telling you, I'm the editor-in-chief.
I know, you have Final Cut.
I'm going to have to take one of these out.
We did 2. We each got one on Commando. You even did one.
Yeah, but that was only because I began participating. But that was a novelty thing. This is not an everyday thing here. All right, how many pieces of Baby Ruth are you breaking off and putting in each other's mouths? Out of 5 for Goonies, 1985. Let's start with, well, I'll save the Ghoul since he just is kind of greener at this movie. He could think about it a little bit more. Chris has been living with this for his whole life.
Almost 40 years.
40 years, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, saw this at the theater when I was 9. Fucking loved it. Can't even put a number on how many times I've watched it in those 39 years. It's just when I try to rack my brain for like all-time favorite like childhood adventure type films, nothing that I can think of even comes close to this as far as something like that, because you really do get sucked into this movie and feel like you're on the adventure with them. I mean, we Stand By Me, but that's a completely different kind of journey than this movie. So, but yeah, this is a fucking all-timer.
Can we say that basically everything that ever like does the nostalgic 80s kids, like Stranger Things and all that, they're all really just doing this movie, right?
Yeah.
100%. Stranger Things is the Goonies just set in more of a, I don't know, a horror world, I guess, if you call it that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't really have a lot to say except I love everything about this movie. It's a classic. It's, even though Richard Donner is the director. This movie has Steven Spielberg's fingerprints all over this movie. I mean, I know he was the executive producer, but he had to have had a major part in sculpting this film, because he did. This feels, just like an E.T. type Steven Spielberg film. I am feeding 5 Baby Ruths out of 5 to you and the Ghoul for this movie.
Yeah, I'll just say that I saw a lot of behind-the-scenes things, and I think Spielberg even directed, like, certain scenes. And before anybody jumps on us, yes, we know that there are scenes with gorillas in this movie. They steal Troy's car, and they go on a chase around town, and they crash into another car, and that was cut. I think Spielberg actually directed all those scenes. It was so horrible, even worse than the octopus scene. We don't have time to talk about every single thing. That's what YouTube is for. Ghoul, how many pieces of Baby Ruth are you breaking off and putting in the mouth of me and Chris out of 5?
So, Chris pretty much nailed it perfectly. But like I said, I had seen this when I was a kid a bunch of times, but I just never, like I said, I never just got it, I guess, so to speak. But rewatching it as an adult now, it may, because I think we also said this during Stand By Me, was like, we've all, when that age, we were all like summers on your bikes, getting into just random, like, this whatever, like, adventure kind of thing, I guess you'd want to call it. So this, just as an adult, kind of makes me like this movie way more than I used to, because it's the nostalgia thing too, but also just like time when life was simpler and better. So it's just like nice to be transported back to that when you watch this. And there's not really much else to say besides, like, this movie is fucking awesome. There's a reason why this is now the 5th, I guess 6th in the background time I've watched it this summer alone. Fucking 5 out of 5, man. Of course.
Yeah, of course. I remember being 12 or 13, and this was on TNT in the fall for, like, Thanksgiving week. And I knew that, and Clash of the Titans, and they had this whole big lineup that was coming on. I got my tapes out, and I recorded this movie along with Clash of the Titans. It was a big Thanksgiving extravaganza. Being a kid that age, getting into movies, like, heavily at that point. And I've watched this every single Thanksgiving week since 12 to 44. So it's a major, major part of my life. Every sound, all the visuals, the music, the characters, it's all so ingrained in me. Every minute of it is great. Like, there's not a scene I'd cut out. There's not a scene I think is weird. I think the only, like, bad acting moment in the movie is when Corey Feldman, like, turns the TV off and then he still hears the gunshots and bangs the top of the TV, goes, huh? Huh? Like, that is the only thing where I'm like, oh, God, I'm watching a movie here. But other than that, yeah, no. All the kids do such an amazing job. They really casted perfect looking, perfect for each of their character traits. Just great. The Fratellis are phenomenal villains, perfect for a kid's movie, and these are real actors like Joey Pants and Robert Davi. To do this is like a favor to us, honestly, and I'm glad they really gave their all to this movie. It's just magic. It's lightning in a bottle. Sloth, all of this is just amazing. So we could joke about and point out things till we're blue in the face, but at the end of the day, it does not take... You can't shave a half a point off this movie. This is a 5 out of 5. Baby Ruths broken off into your mouths. Absolutely. This is a staple in my life, always will be. And it changes. You go from... You watch it from different perspectives. Yeah, I was those kids growing up watching it, but now I watch it in a different way. But it's not any lesser amazing now. It transports you back. I don't know if it's like the way they shot where they lived or the house they were in the beginning, or Mikey looking out his window with the telescope like a pirate, or anything like that. But it just keeps bringing you back to that moment, and it never ceases to be a place I'm thrilled to be.
Yeah, it's funny. So I was driving through the old neighborhood I used to live in the other day this week, and it kicked with that memory, it was like holy shit, all the just to think you kind of the flash in your head, wow, X amount of years ago I was in this exact spot here doing this, and it's just this movie plays into that perfectly, suburban, just yeah, so good.
So good at bringing you back there, yeah. All right, well, this is Goonies, one of the greatest Thanksgiving adventures you could ever be on. Thrilled to be here. Thrilled to be here. Amazing. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Happy Thanksgiving. Peace.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Goonies never say die.